But before we continue, I would like to just put up some few things. Can I have three people in 1 minute each that can just summarize what have been a gain for them this week? Tell us your name and in one sentence, what have been your add-up so far? You raise your hand. I call you to do it. You must first raise your hand, then I'll approve that you can come up. Then you can do so. Any volunteer, please, before we continue? What has been your add-up? What have been again? What have added to you for the past 3 days that you can say in 1 minute? Chris, you can have the floor. Unmute yourself, Chris. Unmute yourself, please.
Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Christopher Onweli from Lagos. And the past, since Monday, there's one major thing I'll say I've actually gained. It is the fact that in everything a salesperson does, service and putting the customer first is actually very important. Thank you.
Right, welcome. Victor, say.
All right,
Victor,
good
yes.
evening, everybody. This is Victor Sese. Yes, and one thing I have learned so far in the course of this week is that customer loyalty is very, very important, and it often supersedes satisfaction because satisfaction is fleeting, but loyalty is constant. So one for loyalty to ensure optimal customer service and retention. Thank you.
Right, awesome. Fosa Eleogo.
God will bless you.
The last person. Fosa Eleogo. The last person for now. Unmute yourself, please, Fosa.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
sir. Thank you. Okay, so good evening, everyone. Okay. So one of the key things I've learned from these 3 days is on Monday. Is what we call the communication. You know, when the facilitator talks about, and that should be the first day when he talks about the 3 P's of communications. So I come to understand that the communication aspect of a salesperson is very important, especially the area of listening, giving a listening ear and being clarity also. So you talk about the communication, being clear in your communications and giving a listening ear. Thank you, sir.
All right, I said 3 persons, but because your hand is up, Akinwumi, let's make you the last person for this period. Akinwumi Peter, the last person for now, please.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Akinwumi Peter Abalogun from Lagos. For me, takeaway is sales the mindset, and having the mindset of satisfying your customer will make you do everything to ensure you deliver good service. And this has been my very key takeaway in this couple of days. Thank you.
But when I started working with people,
all right, thank you very much. Let me just add something there before we go on for tonight. And that is to say, before I speak, let's get a volunteer to take us in the open prayer. Once again tonight, a volunteer, please. Tell us your name, then you pray. A volunteer. Thank you.
My name is Francisco Oseliogo. Can we pray from Lagos? Father, I want to say thank you for today. Thank you for how you started with us on Monday. We want to say thank you for all we have learned. Knowledge have been imparted to us. Father, may your name be glorified in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. We thank you for tonight facilitators and all we are going to learn. That, Lord, it will make impact in our lives and in our career. This I pray in Jesus' mighty name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, Francisco. Thank you very much once again, Thank you very much. Okay. Before we go into the presentation for tonight, like I always do, we need to just juggle things together. From all that you have all said, you discover that sales has to do with communication, and not just communication, but understanding the intent of the client or customer. You must know what the person is trying to achieve so they can give the right response or the right reaction. It's important for us to know that sales is never completed if you get the money from the client without knowing the customer or client is satisfied. There's something they call satisfaction derived from consuming a product, which is called utility. You must understand that the utility must be complete. It's a 360 thing. Don't just think about you have sold. Your sales is not complete because you have collected money. Your sales is complete until when whosoever you have served is satisfied. The reason why I say so is because if you do a one-off sale and there's no continuity, you are not a salesperson. You are a merchandiser. A merchandiser is somebody that just do for somebody, take it off me. Or somebody that just doing marketing. You are doing market storm. You just sell, collect the money, move away. But a salesperson, a customer service person, you are not just to sell one-off, you have to keep the door open. And one of the ways not to shut the door against yourself is to ensure that you are there doing the right thing at the right time to the satisfaction of the client and to the enlargement of the account of your company. On this note, I want to thank every one of you that have been part of this from the day one. Francisco, can you put your hands down, please? I want to appreciate all of you that have been here from day one to join us in this sales and customer service week. Sincerely, it has been very productive, it has been very meaningful, it has been very encouraging. And tonight is not going to be an exception in downward trend, but it's going to be another improvement on what we have been doing. So tonight, without taking time, I'm going to just make sure we go straight into the presentation to save our time because it's night time. Our facilitator today is the CEO and co-founder of Sky Holdings and currently serves as a board director for 2 boards in South Africa and 1 global board. She provides strategic leadership in business process outsourcing, and financial services, with a focus on advancing customer experience, AI-driven sales, and artificial intelligence solutions across Southern Africa and Africa, sure also including the UK. Our approach emphasizes end-to-end delivery from strategy and design to full implementation, that is, with every solution measured by tangible return on investment. One key thing for me that's interesting about this personality is that she has worked extensively with leading players in the financial services and telecommunications sector, including Telkom, Sanlam, Santam, and the rest. And our collaborations have shaped innovative customer-centric solutions for banks, insurance, and call centers, positioning her as a leading voice in the industry. Permit me tonight to take us in a session for tonight to impact us also as it has impacted several multitudes, and also be impacted ourselves with awards and nominations for excellence in gender equality, customer experience, and financial services innovation. Join me tonight as I welcome to this podium, for this forum, at this time, Kamani. I call her from what I've given her, Kamani. She's the CEO and co-founder of Sky Holdings. Help me celebrate her as she takes over from me now. Looking beautiful, like your combinations. Lovely. Take over from me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me on this platform. And thank you for all of you that have joined me this evening. In South Africa, I think we are now 9 o'clock this evening. And it was a touch and go to be here because of our technical issues that we've been experiencing from yesterday. So thank you so much. But I have to say amen to the prayer that the guy had actually started off with. And that is the best way of starting today and this evening. Thank you so much for that. But without further ado, I'm going to kick off straight into my session. And I'm really hoping that you guys are going to enjoy this. It's just all the insights that we have learned, or I have learned, throughout my entire work life, but also in terms of the consulting pieces that we have, the clients that we deal with, the types of touch points that we deal with. Some of them may seem very simple, but simplicity is always best. It gets us to where we actually want to get to, especially with the customer service. I am going to share my presentation that I've done. I will also send this off to Philip as well, and Philip can share this as well. If anybody needs to get in touch with me, please, by all means, you can. And thank you so much for the introduction.
You're welcome.
Can everybody hear me well?
Loud and clear.
Lovely, lovely. Again, good evening to all of you, and thank you for being here. I want to begin with a story about a company called Chewy. We do a lot of work with them from a customer experience and a customer servicing perspective. You may or might know who they are because they are a pet company. During the height of the pandemic, a customer's dog, a beloved member of the family, passed away. Very heartbroken, she did what she felt was the least practical and last practical, perhaps the most difficult task she would do for her pet. She emailed the company Chewy to cancel the authorship of the dog food. So Chewy makes dog food and they actually import and export the food. She expected an automated confirmation email, like many of us will do, especially nowadays in the digital age, and maybe a coupon for her next purchase. But that's not what happened. A real person, a Chewy customer service representative, called her. They offered their sincere condolences, speaking but as a fellow human being, grieving a loss. Now, not many a times do we actually get this, especially nowadays. They processed the refund immediately, and then they did something even more extraordinary. They asked for the address of her. A few days later, this lady received a beautiful handwritten sympathy card and a stunning bouquet of flowers. Now let's think about that. That single act of unexpected, unscripted empathy, it didn't just solve the problem, it didn't just create a satisfied customer, but it built a level of trust so profound and a sense of loyalty so fierce that it transformed her into a brand evangelist for life. She will never buy pet food from anyone else, even when we interviewed her. She says this most probably would be more than 100 times that she had told the story to many individuals. She even mentioned that even if she sits at the bus station or even going into a store or speaking to somebody in a line, she always speaks about this experience. In a world that can feel increasingly of a digital, automated, and transactional, the business that are winning, truly winning, what we have noticed are the ones that are using technology not to replace humanity, but to amplify it, especially from a customer service perspective. Companies are now leveraging new tools to create more of these human movements and not fewer. So, over our time together this evening, we are going to learn or speak about the champions of this approach, just like Chewy. And these are the businesses that we have been dealing with, unpack the latest trends and technologies that make this possible at scale, especially from a BPO perspective, and map out practical strategies or a strategy to build this kind of trust that doesn't just generate transactions, but creates genuine, lasting loyalties. So, shall we begin? You will see on the screen a lot of things that go into place when trying to make an excellent customer service, especially in the digital age. There's so many different points of contact, as you would see in here, from concept to teams to searching to researching to business processes to even ideas, and continuously changing and planning so that our future decisions are informed in terms of what is going to be next, specifically with data. Here you would also see something really great, and I know I heard many of you guys speaking about loyalty, about credibility. And with customer service, good, excellent customer service, comes honesty, reliability, credibility, which equals to loyalty, where customers trust the brands that they go into servicing with. That gives us loyalty through excellent customer service in this digital age. I'm going to move on to why does trust and loyalty matter more than ever post-COVID?
Excuse me, please. Am I?
Yes, can you hear
Hello?
me? Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, please. You need to check slide. You can't see your slide. It's on your Google page. That's what it's showing with the animation.
Oh, is that what you're saying? Sorry, man. Sorry, must
Yes,
apologize.
it's just a fragment on your animation. Thank you.
No problem. Can you all see this now? Can you see this?
It's changing, but not yet there. Can you share
Yeah.
now? Let's see what you shared.
Okay, let's have a look. Okay. Can you see the screen?
We can see your screen, but it's not full screen yet.
Now can you see it?
Yes, we can see you now. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful.
Yes, please.
Thank you
We
so
can
much.
see loyalty now. Thank you.
No problem. So as I was saying is why trust and loyalty matters more than ever in post-COVID. There's two ways of understanding where customer service is. One which was pre-COVID and the other was post-COVID. You might be wondering, haven't trust then and loyalty always been important? The answer is always yes. But the post-COVID world has turned this from business virtues into business critical necessities. The pandemic acted as a great revealer to many of us. It showed us how companies can truly be resilient, especially the ones that had our backs during the ones that prepared to treat us with empathy and transparency, especially in this crisis. This also accelerated our digital lives, where it shattered lots of assumptions, but it's also built up reliability and it made us all rethink what we value. In this new landscape, especially now, where things are required instantaneously, it is characterized by digital distance, but also a real world of uncertainty. Trust is the only currency that bridges the gap. What we have noticed is it is the single greatest competitive piece in terms of from an advantage of brand, loyalty no longer is just a program. It's now become an emotional anchor for customers in the sea of choices. And today we will explore how to build that anchor using both timeless principles and also latest technology. In terms from the 5 core principles that we have put together and what we use is around the trust. It's about radical honesty. It's about transparency and consistency. I'm almost certain most of you in your businesses also see this, that these 3 pieces bring in a lot more than what we would have normally seen it to be. The other 2 is around accountability of culture. What does this actually mean? It means about making mistakes openly and proactively. Culture is something that leads into businesses, that creates wonderful employee experiences, which mirrors the effect of customer service. What we also found is communication, and I know somebody spoke about communication and how if we over communicate rather than leaving customers in the dark, customers always want to be kept in the loop. And what we bring to the party, especially from a Sky Holding perspective with many businesses in Southern Africa and Africa, is that keeping people in the loop, keeping them updated in terms of whether it's a query, whether it's something that they really did require, but making it faster and quicker, where our SLAs and our times are cut shorter in order to deliver that instantaneous service. I'm going to be looking through a few of these particular service leaders in the industry, especially across different pieces of building trust strategies with key results. Chewy was the first one that we spoke about. What we loved about Chewy, and this is a client of ours, is that they're very empathy driven. And what does empathy actually mean? It means personalization. It means understanding with active listening, but also satisfying the customer needs throughout the journey. I'm going to move closer towards what was one of the challenges that we had to do for Chewy from an empathy-driven perspective. We were tasked with the challenge of personalizing customer interactions in a digital environment that led up to good customer service, where the engagements was typically transactional, especially around sensitive issues like pet health or loss of a pet. Many people do not take pet loss or anything to do with pets seriously. But this particular company realized that the pet does become part of the family. We realized and we understood the full environment for the client. Some of the solutions that we implemented was 24/7 customer service that was staffed by trained pet lovers. Like I said, you've got to love what you do. And when you love what you do, it no longer becomes an effort. It becomes an organic way of behaving. Data analytics, we took their data, we transformed it and built it into segmented data from high valued client to a lower value client in terms of value offerings. We also tailor-made these products from recommendations to communications, but also personalized outreach, including handwritten holiday cards and flowers that we would give to grieving pet owners. The pet profile feature for customizations became much more suggested, and medical reminders were sent out to customers or clients where they would normally forget, for example, like ordering their food, understanding if there was refunds that needed to be given back to them, in terms of from ordering all the way to delivering from a service offering perspective. Like we know from an e-commerce, ordering the product is great. Getting the product and paying for it is great. But where the biggest loss of opportunity is when somebody has to transport the goods to the client. This was one of the biggest gap for Chewy itself. We then reached out to Robustic Logistics, ensuring that the delivery was timeless and the returns were easy. The T's and C's was also cut shorter from a servicing perspective so that it allowed the customer service agents to be able to engage and interact when it came to queries like this. We had shortened queries down from bringing and providing self-help services, but also AI virtual agents. The AI virtual agent became more from an integral part, giving the client the best service offering, understanding the needs from a frequently asked questioning, but also making it more humanized rather than long sentences and paragraphs. The result to this particular challenge from a customer service was that the business cultivated passionate community of pet lovers who advocated for the brand voluntarily, but also positioned this particular business not just as a retailer, but as a beloved brand in customers' hearts. Now, this is something very challenging in the beginning for us specifically, because the environment is different, including the audiences that's always changing all the time. But from a customer service and understanding and putting through different activities and exercises for us to understand the behavioral models very, very intently, understanding what the touch points were for the customer from a customer servicing perspective, but also understanding what the end goal from an outcome perspective was meant to be. In our business, which is Sky, we have very little effort base. Our base is more outcome based for clients like this. The next one that I really would like to speak about is around Zappos empowerment model. This is also an e-commerce model, but also has a large customer service workforce. What we were tasked was with the challenge around the customer service while expanding the product range, but also the customer base without sacrificing a personal touch. This was one of their biggest challenge because of their primary product that they sold. The solutions that we implemented was no call scripts or time limits on customer conversations. What this allowed was for the conversation to become more organic, but also for the agents from the contact center not to be parrot-faced. Why we drove this from a call scripting with no call scripts, but just giving them guidance in terms of the product offering, ensuring that there was more training done for the agents, but also allowing and empowering the agent to start to think about things for themselves. When we give agents, customer service agents, scripts, they become very parrot-faced, where they just focus on what they need to say. If a client has to ask them anything out of the ordinary, they are unable to satisfy that call. And hence we have clients calling all the time in because nobody is there or is enabled to assist from different conversations. We also wanted to bring in more organic conversations. So it probed much more ergonomic conversations and it became more humanized rather than, just bot-wise. We also brought in and implemented a 365-day return policy with free shipping to reduce purchase anxiety. When many people purchase anything online from an e-commerce perspective, the question marks are always, would I get a refund? How long is this going to take? If I need to return any goods that I have purchased, do they do it on public holidays? Because sometimes there's many public holidays. Is there free shipping? Because some companies actually ask you to pay for the shipping to ship back your stuff in order for them to return it. With that eradicated, it gave clients less anxiety and much more purchases because the trust became much more apparent. Dedicated customer loyalty team also empowered to surprise and delight. It means that if customers were going through bad moments, they were empowered with this X amount of monies in order to order things such as flowers, perhaps spend more time conversing with the client from an empathy perspective, but also understanding and listening, active listening to the client in order to give a great service. With that being said, we also dedicated a lot more time to employee training. What this business was doing, and like many businesses, is that you get so busy that you train and induct a workforce the first time well enough, thinking that it's going to continue and last for a really long time. But as products come in, we normally just get them up and going, but we don't continuously train individuals to become much more enabled and empowered. With us focusing on this, it became a company of customer first culture. Culture was something that retained attrition. Attrition was so low, and these particular workforce became happy that they were confident to engage with customers from different ways of answering questions, empowering, giving them back the power to do what they need to do from a brand perspective. And what this eventually meant is that customers became happier, because if your employee is good and happy, you will always notice that it equals to a mirrored effect to the client. They become happier, and the brand actually starts singing from the same hymn sheet. What we also brought in was proactive service updates, all in real time. And what that meant is we had to bring in some technology from a customer experience perspective to implement in the contact center. This actually brought in best results, meaning the QA, which would have taken many days and weeks to do, the QA from the technology perspective brought it down to less than a minute. We also empowered the employee, whereas normally you would have a team lead to find out are they doing well by listening to the voice of the client. What the AI technology did, it literally brought everything up from the client behavior, but also to the employee behavior of how they behaved, how they actually service the client from a sentiment perspective, but also from a tonality. If the agent was going or becoming aggressive with the client, the AI agent actually brought it back and brought them back to where they should be. It also alerted them in terms of how they spoke to the client. So they had a buddy that sat with them 24/7 within the shift that they actually was in. From there, their manager had the ability to actually see the CX Insights dashboard, which brought it down into little trends that helped the management of that particular business to make informed decisions. And that was a success. The results of Zappos actually achieved really great high customer satisfaction rates with a higher percentage of repeat customers, retained customers, and consistently ranking in customer service awards. This became a good business school case study for service excellence. We were very proud to be a part of that project. From an Apple integrated support ecosystem, we and another company had also brought in to maintain seamless high quality servicing. The Apple's integrated support was really supported by a larger company where they actually brought in a lot of high quality attributes from technology to AI flows, which is process flows, but also brought in a lot of design pieces from changing what they would have done manually into technology landscapes. Some of the solutions that was implemented here was the Guinness Bar in the Apple stores, providing in-person tech support by highly trained staff. But this also meant online support ecosystems, right? Which included guides, tutorials, community forums. If you go onto the Apple website, you'll be able to see what these different comprehensive online support ecosystems actually mean. With that, bringing those in place, it meant that the workforce at the contact center had to be A+. We also had to get in the CRM system that had to be personalized and communicated. The company that we collaborated with, they had to manage the service requests in real time. Anybody here that has Apple they know for a fact that anywhere throughout the world, when you contact the contact center, they have the ability to have free flow conversations. They have the ability to actually go in and understand how to assist the client, but they also have an 82.8% of concluding the call successfully. The program, which was the Apple Care program that came in with extended warranties, also provided premium support. That meant, again, that the customer service support area had to be AA plus in order for the Apple Care program to be extended into the warranties. This meant that extensive training was to be ensured that the staff was knowledgeable, but also at the same time empathetic. You see, being knowledgeable and having all the skills is great, but lack of empathy means that customers will not or are not willing to really stick around. People still, no matter how much of technology we bring into businesses, people still want to speak to a human. They still want to have empathy conversations. They want to feel the warmth of a human rather than speaking to a bot or technology. Even though we integrate, we deliver and deploy AI technology, we also deliver and implode AI virtual agents. But at the end of the day, it still goes back to a human. The results of this was around reputation and leader in customer satisfaction within the technology industry. And that meant surveys, feedback loops that constantly had to be involved in this business transition. I'm going to skip the Sephora and Starbucks because I think most of you guys know that, and I'm going to leave the deck behind. But I want to actually go into the Sky AI technology. Sky AI technology is also one of the learnings that we have had that we bring to many businesses like yourselves, especially from the customer service perspective. What this means is that we have the ability to supplement your existing technology, which is your customer service technology, with AI technology. It brings in personalization. It brings in the QA, like I mentioned to you. The QA, we receive, clients receives 20,000 calls a day. We have the ability to bring it down all the way to below 3 minutes. What we also have the ability to do within our AI technology is increase employee experience. The employee experience is so important, from training to engagement to understanding what's going to make their lives easier, giving them the right tools, but also the right product training. As I mentioned before, employee experience, which is customer experience, is a solid mirrored effect to your customers out there. Your clients see what your staff are busy doing. They see and they feel the experience as soon as they call that contact center. From building an integration of experiences to bringing this particular real time of technology, it brings about positiveness from a CSAT perspective. It also brings in customer experience dashboarding. It tells your employees and the employer exactly what is happening at any given time. It also tells the employee where they are given more confidence in terms of how the training is done, but also how they operate within the workforce that they are placed into. With that being said, the AI technology is around trusting brands. And I'm just going to move on very quickly to here. Where are we? Here. It's about the trends and how we reshape our particular shaping of the customer service. This customer service of our landscape is more around the intelligent of personalization at scale, also around the proactive service delivery, such as using technology, such as your AI capabilities or any sort of technology to identify possible or potential customer service issues around the escalation process, for example. but also around keeping customers informed throughout their service journey without any manual intervention. Also around implementation of intelligent chatbots for routine inquiries while freeing the human agents for complex issues. But besides that, it's all around the advancement. Like I mentioned to you, there was COVID and post COVID. And in this digital scale, even though we have these virtual co-workers that can plan and execute and multi-step workflows, this also creates new possibilities for us all. It also provides our agents, from the rising of autonomous systems, from moving from pilot projects to practicality, right? Learning the adaptation, but also collaborating in different environments. What I love the most is around this particular, the human machine. And we speak about human machine not only about the technology of the AI aspects, but also how human and the new human machine evolve together from natural organic interfaces, but also the multi-modular inputs. This all adaptive is around the intelligence that responds very quickly to behavior, human behavior. Like I mentioned before, nowadays, in the days of the digital era, people are no longer wanting to look and wait for 24 hours, 48 hours for things to be resolved. The only way to actually be and stand out the best from the rest is to ensure that the communications are open and updated. Your feedback loops with your technology is working timelessly and in real time. But also in terms of the workforce from a customer service perspective, is that ensuring that everybody's up to speed, that people have the ability and empowerment together with the technology to service our clients timelessly. With that being said, is around the seamless channel consistency. That is so important, where the customer profiles and servicing is very unified. Most businesses do not have that luxury or ability to have customer profiles unified. If we have to take examples specifically with us that works within different banks in Southern Africa and out of Southern Africa, every single area has disparate systems or standalone systems, which makes customers very frustrated. What that means is if we try our best to bring these particular platforms together where they become unified, which allows and enables customers to access account information, product recommendations, and personalized advice across the physical stores or even a website or a mobile app. Now, what that means altogether, just by speaking about that, again, it's about loyalty, it's about retaining customers. It's about answering customers' needs rather than their wants. Needs is what we focus on, and wants is just a nice to have. In terms of integrated systems is so important. It's about ensuring customer context, but also their history must be made available across different touch points within the brand. That is one of the most painful experiences from a customer service for clients, but also for employees as well. Because sometimes, like I mentioned, if the profiles and the systems are disparate, it means customers don't have history and neither do employees, which is the call center agents. They don't have history available to assist the client, and the client doesn't have access to that history for them to understand where they are. Therefore, each and every one of these touch points are iterative. It means they need to be serviced. It is the life cycle journey of each and every client. But from an employee enhanced perspective of an empowerment, the AI assisted tools are also something great from an AI technology, but also for trusting and building, is providing services or service representatives with really intelligent systems. What we found is when we service our clients, This actually helps so much from an offer of real-time information, of suggested solutions, but also decision support, such as equipping our agents with data and authority to do what they need to do, to resolve issues quickly. Similar, you must have heard of the Ritz-Carlton's approach, how they allow their employees to spend up to £2,000 per incident to address concerns without managerial approval. But what we saw in Chewy's instance, when I first started this presentation, is that Chewy took smaller things, not £2,000 because it must never be transactional. It's about empathy and putting yourself into the client's shoes. It's about active listening and understanding on how to close the gap or leakage very quickly. But it's also about doing simple things, taking things back to basics again. Simplicity in Chewy's state was to give Chewy's clients something really small, a handwritten notice to them to say how much they actually empathize with the family in terms of what had happened to their pet. That was something so, so simple and easy. When you start giving monies away and you start giving things from a voucher perspective, it's basically not an entrenched behavior. It's more of a behavior where you're driving them with money or with things that they can touch, feel. The touch and feel means that it's transactional. You want it to be relational rather than transactional. The next slide that we are going to move on to is around the balance of technology with personal touch. I spoke a lot about personal, which is relational. I also spoke a lot about AI, which is the technology piece of it. But it's always we have to come to a balance of both technology and human touch. As we all scale, the human element always remains irreplaceable in building genuine trust. When people hear AI, technology, and we do like 42 deployments per time with customer experience and customer service. We always ensure that the human remains irreplaceable and it's always sustainable in any type of business environment. These are some of the things that we actually do in order to keep this going. One is strategic allocation. We use technology for transactional interactions, but we preserve the human support for emotional and complex situations. We also bring in a lot of training. I do all the training of our bots, our AI training from a customer servicing perspective, as well as a customer experience. But empathy training beats the best. It ensures that the staff, which is our workforce, is well trained. When we employ people based on emotional intelligence and just not IQ intelligence. You see, you've got to have emotional intelligence throughout the life cycle journey in order for this to be a success. We also drive foundations such as cultural foundations because this fosters the company-wide culture from a value connection and also from an employee, which is trained to build personal connections. We don't want to forget customer names. We want to remember them. We want to ensure that they understand, even with Richard Branson, if you've heard anything of what he said and how he became success before all of this AI pieces, is about a smile. It's about being happy to be present where you are, but it's also about remembering who your customers are. When you remember a customer's name, believe it or not, no amount of money or no amount of giving somebody something to go away with will ever replace that. When somebody remembers my name, and think about it about yourself as well, it means that they remembered who you are. It means that they care about you. They remembered your needs versus your wants in any sort of interaction. The empowered balance is also about combining all of these things that I've spoken about, but combining the AI efficiency as well, together with human. This empowers the employees to make lots of decisions, but also it empowers the employees to do the important things and not doing things where an AI agent could possibly pick up. It is beneficial for both, from customer relationships to employee relationships. This is one of the most important key insights that we have found, is that with all the organizations that we have worked in to date, the successful organizations is around the use of technology and how it augments human capabilities. And like I've said throughout this presentation, it's never to replace human at all. It's about replacing some processes that makes experiences a delightful one. I'm going to speak now around the framework, but also building the trust strategy. You see, trust is a big word. Trust is about lots of things. It's about being earned. Nobody trusts people just by meeting them. They trust people by getting to know them, and that means that it's a trust that needs to be earned. Some of the practical steps that we've implemented in organizations are such as identifying where customer experience and services lack, transparency, consistency, but also accountability. Many companies don't take accountability. Many of them are not consistent, and many of them lack transparency, especially when you go to sign those T's and C's, right? If you're purchasing a car or a home or things that require you to sign a contract, many, especially financial institutes, do not bring in the transparency. What we also looked at was the trust killers. What are these trust killers? What are the trust killers? Are something like your hidden fees. So if you go to open up a bank account, did you know about hidden fees? Did you know about the difficulty of cancellation? What are those cancellation processes? And believe it or not, when we go to buy things, or we take up a gym contract, for example, or we take on any sort of contractual agreement, we don't ask about these things. People always say, yes, you know what, there's a cooling off period, there's a 30-day cancellation, but nobody asks about how difficult is it to cancel. What about the departmental misalignment? You know, each department has their own rules and regulations, but never tie up to what it should be for a client. Some of the technologies that we've used around this is choosing the right AI, but also the customer service tools that align with specific trust building goals. We also prioritize solutions that has enablement and has used as a vehicle of personalization, proactiveness, communication, and how's this? The cross-channel consistency. Cross-channel consistency, like we know in many businesses, do not exist. But with the help of technology, it becomes a reality. Proactive communication, which is your feedback loop that we all chase after, also is a huge absenteeism in many organizations. Personalization. Imagine you phone into a company and as soon as you dial in, they already know your name. They already know your history. They know when the last time you had called in. But they also know if Carmony was an irate customer, because it should come up, especially if you have AI technology. Immediately when it comes up, the agent already knows how to work around Carmony. They know she gets angry quickly, she's frustrated. It's because she couldn't get what she actually paid for. Automatically, the agent is aware of how to consume this particular individual, but also how to engage with her in terms of what she's been through. And that's what's empathy about. It's about empowering the team as well, you know, around the emotional intelligence. It's around the technical and trust branding skills, but it's also around the authority and the limitations that we give our frontline staff to resolve issues promptly. What we don't understand about our customer service agents or customer service capability is that even though we sold a product or service to a client, that was not the most important thing to do because we got it over the line. The most important jobs that anybody would have is the customer service element. They are the ones that can retain your clients. They are the agents that can stop cancellations. They are the agents that can upsell and cross-sell. They are the agents and the staffing that actually leads and celebrates your brand together with your client. It also is around policies and processes. What we realized from deploying into different companies is that company policies also reflect trust. What a huge trust on principles rather than creating barriers. Now, like we all know, policies and processes are very boxed. They give a boxed experience. It's more like a push experience where they don't allow clients to actually, for example, like the cancellations we spoke about, they create these barriers that leaves a very sour taste in people's mouth. Creating departmental alignments from legal, finance, marketing, but also supporting the trust building there as well. Establishing measurement systems. I mean, how often in our customer servicing aspect, we want to know about measurements. We know how challenging it is, but how important it is for us in the customer service business. From tracking both quantitative metrics, we bring in satisfaction scores, but also retention rates. I mean, these two pieces are the things that drive the force from a customer service perspective. But what we also do treasure is qualitative feedback. We know how important that is because that's what informs and allows us and enables us as a business to make the right decisions, to close those leakages, to understand and actually, the process flows, make it much more customer centric. When customers want to engage, give them the freedom of choice on the channel of choice that they would like to actually deal with or engage with. Monitoring unintended consequences of any sort of implementation as well that brings in or builds the trust strategy. The trust strategy for us, from a Sky perspective, is one of the most important frameworks for us. Because with the things that we do from human to technology and how we integrate this is really important. It's the driving force or the pinnacle force of any organization. In terms of the efforts of low effort and high impact trust, of the gaps to fix now, I have listed a few. I'd love for you guys to go through this and see what the outcome of all of this would be. When you expert this from a customer servicing perspective, it should be your common denominator or thread to the solutions, from engagements to the generation of significant trust by shifting communication habits as well, from passive to inward facing to proactive customer facing. I mean, that itself is so powerful in terms of how this whole thing fits together. If you want to see more, please let me know. I've got over 100 that we've done so far, and I can share that with you guys as well. The conclusion and key takeaways for all of this is these are the essential insights of building trust and loyalty for excellent customer service that we have come across within the businesses that we engage with. Trust is earned, like I mentioned, and it's definitely not given. It's built through consistent actions across the 5 key principles that I spoke about in the beginning of the presentation, which is honesty, transparency, consistency, accountability, and communication. Using technology as an enabler, but definitely not a replacement. You see, AI and digital tools have the vehicle of enablement to enhance human connection rather than replace it. Personalization, we realize, drives the loyalty. Customers feel valued when services are tailored to their specific needs and preferences. So when we speak to customers, excuse me, especially from a customer service perspective, we need to listen to what they've got to say, because our future product and our future needs for them is all spoken in all of this verbatim. Hence, the voice of the client and the QA capability is so important. The segmentation, the breaking it down into different themes and trends allows us as businesses to make those decisions and choices. The empowerment from a multi-level, both employees and customers need to be appropriate. When I mean appropriate, I mean we need to give the appropriate tools and authority in building trust, engagements, and relationships. Consistency across touch points, we know that's a weak point for most businesses, but we need to aim to seamlessly get these experiences right across all the different omni-channels or multi-channels that creates liability, dependability, but also trust as well. The quick wins always matter, especially in customer service environments where there's low effort, high impact fixes that can immediately signal culture shifts, but also building momentum and wonderful customer experiences and services. In conclusion, the future of customer relationships, as technology continues to evolve, the organizations that thrive will be those that leverage new capabilities whilst maintaining the human touch that builds genuine trust and lasting loyalty. I want to thank you guys for staying online and also being here to listen. It's really been a pleasure. And I'd like to stop right here. If there's any questions, please go ahead and ask them. I am going to also share this presentation that I've done with the team, and the team will share it with all of you. But again, thank you so much for allowing me this platform to share my insights and the views of what we've seen with many businesses in Southern Africa, in Africa, and cross-border into international territory. Thank you again.
All right, thank you very much, Kamani. Thank you very much. Applause to you for the presentation. Very insightful, very detailed. I appreciate you for taking your time to disseminate the information that you put up in the structured document. Thank you very much for your time. Please, I would like to just throw open 3, 4, 5 persons or whoever that have questions. Please, you have to raise your arm. Let me see your digital hand up. We are talking about technology here.